Well, guys, there's been some interesting developments over the last couple of weeks here that actually could point towards some real change happening with the way that AAA games monetize themselves. And pretty much everything that EA do exactly relates to this. And genuinely, there's more of a chance than ever before that the EU government actually cracks down on EA and their monetization practices, which would cause huge changes to just the game that we play in general. And we'll talk about that today because there's a whole article we want to look at, a couple things we want to read that is very interesting and really just shows there is more of a hope for change than we probably ever had before. And we'll talk about that. If you guys would like to buy coins, you can go to MMOXP.com. There will be a link in the description down below. They are the cheapest and the safest option. You can use my code JFC at checkout for an 8% discount. The Immortality League came out today, and it's actually only win 25 compared to 30, and that's pretty awesome because golden goal is a little more random. If you guys have played all this already, let me know what you got. Some nice rewards in here, of course. There's an icon pick, a hero pick in here. There is something missing, though, and we'll talk about that, too, that is strange. And apart from that, you know, the Immortals promo has just not been something that has been very exciting. I mean, let's just be honest. We did get a 99 shooting Evo today. That's pretty cool. It gives Power Shot Plus. That's not necessarily the best, but it does give 99 shooting, and it doesn't give that much of a ratings boost either, so there's going to be some, like, good cards you probably can chain in here over time. So I do want to give them some credit for this. It's not the most insane Evo ever, but we'll see what the chains look like eventually. It could turn into like a crazy evolution, actually. But I do want to say thank you all for joining and being here today. If you're watching, despite the fact that, you know, we're in that lull between team of the season, or sorry, between the usually about beginning of March until team of the season. If you're still watching during this point, I am very appreciative of you. And usually on days like today, when many people are playing the gameplay a lot, we tend to hear a lot about gameplay complaints because obviously people are in high stress games and I need to win 2 or 3 games to get Maldini. The delays, ass cheeks, and all of a sudden I lose 2 in a row and I can't get Maldini anymore. You know, you start to hear those complaints, and many of them are very valid, and we'll get into some of those here in a little bit. But I want to talk about the content still today because we talked about this yesterday too, and I don't want to harp on this and just repeat myself all the time, okay? But if we don't get something more interesting, at least in content, come like not even this week's hopeless, okay? This week, like this, chalk this week up. We're looking towards next week here, which hopefully is team of the season. It might not be. We might have a prep week or something like that, but we just need something new in here. It doesn't even have to be insane, just something different to spice things up, because right now it is bland in the upgrade section. I'll tell you that much. Just my opinion, of course, but it does feel like most people probably feel kind of similar to that. Now, Zico as well came out today, and that's one of those cards that is good. Now, it is not going to fit into a lot of Evos soon. He's 92 rated. He's got good play styles, but he's got 2 play style pluses, and you know the stats are good, but they're not like over the top insane. It's one of those cards that probably plays a little bit better in game than you expect him to. But I was seeing people complain today about this SBC dropping, and it's like not that good, and I get that. You know, 86 balance on a Zico card is kind of low. Let me know what you guys think, and just let me know if you guys are enjoying this content more than I am, because the Immortality League came out, and that's always fun. I want to like give them their credit for that, but just day by day, and doing what I enjoy is the menus. There's just not much to do. Every single day you hop on, you're like, yeah, I'm on for 5 or 10 minutes, and then you hop off again for I think most people, but this did drop today, and that helps a lot. So I don't want to like sit here and just bash on them every day during content time, but it just doesn't feel like that innovation that we saw for like a month or 2 there. We're really seeing new stuff and a lot of good content, a lot of interesting stuff. When the shit was hitting the fan, they're kind of like getting a little complacent now, it feels like, and maybe that just has to do with them going on to the next game right now, working on FC 26. 3/4 of the devs are working on the next game right now, so that's probably not that surprising. But okay, so on to the title of the video now. There has been some interesting news over the last couple of weeks that I definitely want to talk about. So shout out to, I think it's Rasmus, who sent me a DM. Shout out to you, Rasmus, if you're watching this video. He sent me a DM and was like, hey, check this video out from Bellular News. The title is "The Law Finally Caught Up. Every AAA is in Trouble." Now, I saw this and I was like, okay, you see titles like this, they're rarely actually like genuinely, yeah, AAA games are in trouble, because that would take a lot of change that we've just really not seen yet, or really seen much motion towards yet. However, this is the closest we've been to genuinely seeing changes in how these AAA games monetize themselves. So shout out Bellular News if you want to watch his video. I want to shout him out. Also, Flashbang in 3, 2, 2, 1. Holy fuck. But okay, so we have the Digital Fairness Act, which was in, September earlier this year was when this was kind of like revealed. I think we talked about it like the second day after this came out. It was like right before FC 25. Basically, the whole point of it is to tackle unethical techniques and dark patterns, even in quotes, dark patterns, okay, in these AAA monetization practices and how they monetize their game with, in-game currency and stuff like that. And we got an update today. We'll go back to this article in a sec. We got an update today. I shouldn't say today. It was March 20th. I read this today and thought it would be very interesting for you guys to see and for us to talk about today, because the Consumer Protection Cooperation Network, CPC, has launched an enforcement action against a company that was making this horse game that you don't have to worry about right now. But basically, they were doing some shady stuff like pretty much all AAA games do now. It wasn't a AAA game, but the point is AAA games are in trouble. And the CPC network, who's trying to enforce these new rules, is going to the EU to try and have them enforce it now across the landscape of gaming. So what are they trying to enforce right now? Well, let's go look at this. If you read through these 5 bullet points, you immediately have exactly what EA have done for years now. And don't forget, they have psychologists on the payroll. Okay, let's just add that in so we never forget that. Number 1, dark patterns in online interfaces. And they also bring up putting unnecessary pressure on consumers through false urgency claims. So I think that's them trying to tackle some FOMO stuff as well. They say here on this article, the use of pressuring techniques such as purchase through time-limited practices, aka say packs coming out for a few days and you'll never see them again, and stuff like that. If this were to be enacted, if a pack came out, it would have to permanently be out and have anybody be able to buy it at any point during the year. Number 2, addictive design. Okay, that sounds familiar. Addictive design of digital services that pushes consumers to keep using the service or spending more money, such as gambling-like features in video games, which obviously that's EA's whole thing. Their whole game is gambling. And I think this is one of the biggest reasons why Evolutions are getting the love that they're getting, quote unquote, from EA, is because they have an inclination that this will probably come crashing down one day, this whole gambling system, and we need a backup plan. Evolutions can maybe be that backup plan. You've got personalized targeting. You could even consider this as something like a DDA if that were to be in the game, or say a pack luck manipulation type thing we talked about yesterday. They say personalized targeting that takes advantages of consumers' vulnerabilities. Okay, sure. Negative mental states. Yep. Number 4 is not as much about EA themselves and FIFA, difficulties with managing digital subscriptions. I think I just voice cracked. Subscription services have done this for a very long time. Trying to unsubscribe is like pulling teeth. You can't fucking find it. And here's a nice one too. Problematic commercial practices of social media influencers. And in this article talking about the horse game, they say it over here, failure by the company to ensure the influencers promoting their products clearly disclose commercial content. So obviously, if there were people working with EA that don't disclose it very well, that have to disclose it. Now, of course, we're looking at these things as if the EU would literally adopt all of this and start to enforce it across all of gaming, which obviously is a whole nother debate on how long that could take. However, the gaming companies and developers are feeling the pressure. They released a statement actually a couple days later after the 20th article. There was this response by the European Game Developers Federation and Video Games Europe, okay? And you won't believe it. They weren't too happy, okay? They weren't too happy with these changes. They were disappointed, quote unquote, by the lack of engagement from the CPC network, that's the organization trying to enforce these rules, in creating these principles, which introduce new legal theories and misguided interpretations of EU consumer law that will create confusion and disruption for European consumers. Yes, more confusion, because we just know more information about what we're buying and how the games work. Yes, quite confusing. And also the biggest thing here is really this second sentence. It will also present a challenge to the industry's future growth, which is exactly what the actual problem is here, monetary growth, and could even deprive millions of consumers access to their favorite games. Because like Bellular, is it Bellular News? Yes, like he said in this video, there's actually been rumblings that like if this were to go through, there would be games that just wouldn't release in the EU. Or what a bigger game like FIFA would do is probably release in the EU, but it would be a lot more like Belgium is now, right? Would it be fundamentally different? I don't know about fundamentally, but it'd be quite a bit different than the rest of the world if this were to go through, and they basically might just say, yeah, EU, okay, we're just gonna have to just live without you, and we're not gonna be able to actually change our monetization policies because it just makes too much damn money. And also, where is it? They talked about, it's in this one right here. They also want to respect the consumer's right of withdrawal, aka refunds. So we'll see the option to refund literally anything. Respecting consumer vulnerabilities, in particular when it comes to children. Does that mean that there's going to be an over 18 rule in the EU to start gambling on the game? Because this is obviously very vague, right? Consumer vulnerabilities could be gambling practices, right? So there's just a lot of questions right now, and it does, if we talk about in layman's terms here, summing this all up, there is at least motion to start trying to tackle these things. And we talk about how the lawmakers are always 5 years behind, 10 years behind, tends to be that way with the internet. And I do believe EA have known for a while and have been preparing for like a post-pure gambling simulator, EA and eafc, and they now probably see this and go, okay, the time is at least ticking to a certain extent. It could still take 5 more years, but it could take 1 more year to where, hey, this system we got right now probably isn't going to last forever. So that could also be why the store packs you see all the time right now have been going insane, right? You see these leaked. If you go to FUT scoreboard, you can see that every 2 days there's 6 more store packs added, and you just wonder how long will this last? What's EA's plan? It seems like it has been for the last couple of years. We're gonna try and probably make as much as we possibly can until this shit just straight up burns out and we just can't make the game like we used to because we now have gambling regulations on this game. But what do you guys think? That's kind of what I want to talk about because we are getting closer to that push, and this game is literally made exactly like this EA FIFA, like for the last 6 years, it might even be longer than that, has literally been their 3 or 4 fundamental pieces to their game design has been addiction, personalized targeting, gambling. Like, this is how they make their game. It is going to need to be different if this comes into play, and I don't think at all this is like a lesser deal than we make it out to be. If this comes to fruition, this will be a big deal, and we'll see how big of a deal it is. But it's going to make the game a lot different, and we'll see what ways it will, but it's going to change things. We're playing a game that is literally this. Like, that we know for sure. And of course, let me know what you guys think. And most of the time I talk about that kind of stuff on my second channel, but today there was like not much to talk about, so I'm like, fuck, I will talk about the main channel today. And because it can literally be so important to the future of the game that we play right now, you might as well talk about it to everybody. But okay, let's get back to FC25 news right now. And there was a FUT agent debacle today because it's getting worse, guys. Leaks are going downhill because, for example, this came out today. Max 90 Evo FUT agent prior to content today talked about the 99 shooting Evo that we got today. But guess what he said? And guess what is probably going to happen from now on? He says, to avoid pump and dumps, I will not post any cards. So he's not even going to explain either on many of the Evos now, or at least some of them. It could be all of them, but at least some of them. He's not even going to say what the cards are or what cards fit, anything like that. He's just going to basically straight up tweet out hints like this, for example. Your player will get 99 shooting, which of course you can't do anything with that information at all. You can do nothing with that. But if this guy probably knows the requirements exactly, you know what he's going to do? Put them in this fucking Discord while he hides them from the public. And it doesn't make any sense anyway, because to avoid pump and dumps, it wouldn't be a pump and dump if you posted a card that fits. It literally wouldn't be a pump and dump because it fits in the Evo. A pump and dump would be a card that you say fits in the Evo that doesn't fit in the Evo. So this whole thing makes no sense. Why is he not posting it? I'm sure he wants that sweet extra 300,000 coins he makes off those investments. Yeah, because that's that valuable. And the comment section was just roasting him. I mean, even leakers are dead. It does feel like leaks are kind of going a little bit more downhill. I think people have finally just realized, like, oh yeah, wait, I can make money off of this, can I? What if I just don't tell them and I just tell some other people and I hold it behind a paywall? That'd be a good idea, actually. And I'm sure that's happening more and more now. And this is something I'm sure we will see more of as time goes on. I'm kind of shocked it took this long for this to happen. But okay, one thing that was missing today from this Immortality League were these evolutions. It said multiple evolutions were supposed to be in this and we didn't see them. So I wonder if we're going to get an objective soon that will have Evos in it that was then confused to be in this league. So I would probably expect to see soon objective evos, if I had to guess. Objective or SBC evolutions that people thought would be in this that ended up not being in this. So just wanted to throw that out there as well, that we're kind of missing something from the league that was in the leaks. And the last thing here is that Due has won the Liga Player of the Month. I don't think we know for sure if we've been getting this card. No one knows at all if we're getting this card or not, because we're not getting the Bundesliga Player of the Month, but we did get the Serie A Player of the Month. So I'm not sure what's going on. Obviously, these stats are insane. They're not going to, I mean, like, what kind of concept is that? That is just pure engagement bait, but he has one Player of the Month. We'll see if he ends up getting a card in the game. I hope so. Why quit doing them? Makes no sense. But all right, let's look at the market and take a guess what I'm going to say right now. You have 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. 89 informs are 11-5, 11-5. If you don't have 6, 7, 8 of these guys in your club minimum, you're doing it wrong, okay? I can't believe they're this cheap. They might not go up if for some reason EA just like fodder being dirt cheap because they hate everything. But to me, there's no way at some point this year they're not 20,000. They have to be. There's no way they don't end up 20,000. And then with the market in general, I think there might be a week between this end of this promo and team of the season. If that's the case, the market will be basically like dead for a whole week. So you kind of have right about between now and then to sell. I do think you should not be into cards into team of the season, especially with evolutions now. You basically, there's no more holding cards into a promo anymore. You just can't do it because Evos will probably drop on a Friday. That will be good and the market will drop. You kind of can't do that. You want to be completely out. If there's any chance a great Evo comes out or a great promo team comes out, team of the season will be that. It could be this Friday. It'll probably be the next Friday with prep in between or some other type of promo as well. I believe the Invincibles promo is still a question mark on whether that might be a thing or not. But I would just, if you're in like expensive cards, I would be out preferably like before this Rivals Rewards ends, like maybe this Wednesday. Okay, let's read some of your comments here. I already recorded the comments video that'll be out in a couple of hours. So I'll pick the ones I didn't read from that video. We got 13 Guns 87 who basically says in this long comment, fodder isn't up because there's no good SBC out right now to go and get. He says they could add a legit icon pack and that would also do it, like the one from the other season. Fodder is low because they want it to be low before team of the season. They literally control the market and have done it for years. I think we're saying the same thing really, and that fodder is low. I think we said yesterday because exchanges are not here. There's not that same baseline anymore, but that's not the only reason. And it is true that the Hold SBC came out, that made fodder rise up a ton, right? Fodder was up crazy. Now it is way down again, and the way for them to get it back up would be to drop a legit repeatable icon pick. I mean, imagine what fodder would be like right now if there wasn't a repeatable icon pick. I mean, that would be insane. It's towards minimum price right now. I know it's a shitty icon pick, but people love gambling. Like, there's a repeatable icon pick, and some of the fodder is minimum price. That shows you there is like some bit of what could be an issue, right? There could be an issue there where you would legit have to pack 350 tradable 88 cards to get like a million coin plus player, right? You know, like that's why fodder prices being low can be an issue. Is if you want to try and afford the best cards in the game, think about how many 88s you have to pack, how many 89s you have to pack. I mean, holy shit, you have to pack an ungodly amount of tradable 88s. There's also good things to fodder being lower too. So it really is kind of a balance you have to find. What's the best balance? I don't know. I don't have the answers to that. But I do think it's really interesting right now that fodder's this low. It's an indication to me that the people are not excited with content. And there's also SBC storage out. We've got Dulane, I think, who says EA making changes to settings like not being able to make draft matches 3 minutes really shows what they care about. Even with such bad gameplay, they take time to fix the smallest problems that no one cares about. And it's true that it seems like they shouldn't care about those changes, right? But it's all about the retention. That's all they care about. And unfortunately, the truth is the longer you're on the game, the more likely you are to spend money. And in the draft case, the offline draft thing, the offline whatever thing, friendlies is what it was that people were switching the amount of time. It just, frankly, in EA's eyes, you saved too much time. And they didn't like that. So sometimes they are okay with time being shaved off, like squad battles changing to 4-minute halves, you know. Sometimes they're okay with that. Like they'll make compromises here and there, but most of the time they are going to say, hey, anything that really affects how long you're on the game for, that will not change. Like that is what we really need to make sure we're honing in in on, and we don't make too much of a drastic change because we need player retention. Retention is like the buzzword that every game company uses now because that's everything. And I do want to say I was seeing some reports of people being like, yeah, I haven't crashed in a while in squad battles. So if that has been like low-key fixed, that would be really nice. If you guys have crashed recently, let me know in the comments, because then we know obviously it's not fixed. But I would like to hear if it is, that's awesome. And I want to give at least the news that it seems like it's fixed. I don't want to give EA credit that it's fixed because it's taken 6 months or longer. Well, no, longer than that. Yeah, 7 months now, or no, about 6. I don't know, something like that. Anyway, thank you guys for listening and being here. Appreciate you all so much. Love y'all, servers on. Peace.